So that's right, after nearly an entire month of being away, I'm finally back to do another video. So, hello, and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now, yes, as I said at the start of the video, I've been away for pretty much an entire month, which is very unlike me. I take week breaks, but never a month. It's very extreme for me. I'll quickly touch on that now, let you know why, but I think it's a topic which I need to talk about more in maybe a live stream video. It's not really appropriate for this video, because obviously we got a whole nother topic to talk about. Basically, I've taken a whole month to myself. Still been working, but on the weekends trying to sort myself out. I was not really the best person on the weekends. I like to spend a wee bit too much money on drink. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't being healthy. So I took some time on the weekend to get all that sorted out. Generally, I'm off the drink a lot more now. I'm eating a lot better. I'm working out. I'm feeling a lot better with myself, and that's why I took a bit of a break from YouTube, because I wanted to focus on fixing myself, if that makes any sense. But as I say, that's a topic which I'll go into more on a live stream maybe or something, because I do plan to do them. Don't worry, guys, the videos are going to keep coming back now. I took the time I needed, and now I'm back and I'm confident we're going to keep rolling. I've got a lot of videos planned. I've already got a couple album reviews lined up, a couple album reviews filmed. They're ready to go. Bish, bash, bosh. I'm going to upload them. You know, I don't want to upload them all back to back. I want to pace my videos a bit. But they're coming. I've got videos lined up. So it's all good times ahead from here, guys. And as I say, hopefully a live stream at some point in the next couple of weeks. I really want to do another one, because I really enjoyed doing those. And it's been a long time since I've done one. I think the last one I done was for Egypt Station's release. So, nevertheless, this video, let's get on to this topic now. This is my favourite second albums. Now, this topic, I was struggling with topics to do for a comeback video. I was like, I don't know what to talk about. I was really boggling my head. Do I do a vinyl update yet? Still seemed a bit too soon. I haven't really got enough stuff piled up. And then all of a sudden it hit me. Why don't I do my favourite second albums? Because I've done, a long time ago on the channel, my favourite debut albums. And I thought, well, let's just continue that. Let's do my favourite second albums. And then I thought, well, we'll do it the normal way, top 10. But I found so many albums here, it was impossible to come up with just 10, pick my 10 favourites. So I was like, scrap that idea. I'm just going to show you every second album I own from an artist in my collection that I really like. So, we're not including live albums, compilations, side projects, nothing like that. This is an artist's second album, a band or solo. So anyway, I've put them in a random order. There's no order to this. I'm going to show you my 2 CDs first, because I don't own these 2 on vinyl yet. I hope to one day. And yeah, we're just going to go through them pretty quickly, because there's a few here. There's a few. So the first one up I'm going to show is probably potentially the most obvious one. Nevermind, by Nirvana. I'm not a massive Nirvana fan. They're just like one of those bands which I put on every now and then and have a good time with. But whenever I put them on, it's either like their compilation or it's this. Because this is something else. This is an awesome album. Smells Like Teen Spirit, of course, opens this album up, which is arguably one of the best openers of all time. And then pretty much every other song on here is just really good to listen to. It's just really fun. And there's just a lot of good material on here. The next one up, kind of feel a bit guilty about putting this one on here, because I'm not a massive fan of it, but every time it comes on, I always enjoy it. And I was thinking, that's saying enough, I think, to make it come on this list. Amy Winehouse. Yeah, this is Back to Back, or Back to Black even, sorry. You guys know, this isn't like an amazing album, I don't think it is, but every time it comes on, there is some really enjoyable stuff on here, like Rehab, Back to Black, what else is on here? Me and Mr. Jones is on here. You know, just some really, really good stuff. So I saw that in my collection and I was like, I can't leave that off. But anyway, we're going to get to the records now. These are all records from here on in a completely random order. So the first one we have to talk about is probably my favourite artist of all time, solo artist. Come on, camera. Why are you getting out of focus on me? That is David Bowie. I love this man. He's probably my favourite solo artist, as I say. This is his second album, which has many a titles: Space Odyssey, David Bowie. This was the first David Bowie album, in my opinion, though, really. So I don't, and a lot of other people consider it the first, so this one might be cheating. But there was a studio album that came before this, which was self-titled, which I do own. And it was basically your generic 60s album. You know, back then, a lot of artists, because funny enough, the next band that I'm going to talk about, not the next band, there's another band in this in this pack that I'm going to talk about. A lot of artists in the 60s did have to do a pretty generic first album to get themselves on the Billboard before they could start branching out and going in the direction that they really longed to go in. And it was the way, the music industry hasn't changed that much in that regard, because artists have to stick to a formula to gain enough success to keep making money and to keep selling records. So they have to go into the formula, and then when they've got their backing, I think they're free to branch out. Bowie didn't get a huge backing from the first album, but it put him on the radar, and then he branched out with his second album. Pretty ballsy move, I've got to say. He was one of the quickest artists to do it, I think. But man, did this album turn out great. I mean, honestly, there's some amazing songs on here. Of course, the opening song is just incredible. And the album from start to finish is just a thrill ride. And I love this cover and this artwork. How every piece on here kind of reflects a bit of the songs as well. It is just generally a beautiful album. Beautiful album. So next artist I'm going to talk about is Bob Dylan, who also kind of done the same thing after a very generic first album. He then decided to show what he would blossom into. And this is the freewheeling Bob Dylan album, of course. And I love this cover. I love this cover. It's fantastic. Now, I've become a really big Bob Dylan fan over the last year. And funny enough, the last couple of weeks is all I've been listening to, really. I think he's a very talented musician. But his writing, his soul, and the meaning behind his lyrics are just next level compared to near any other artist who ever has been on this planet. And if you're not into his style, that's fair enough, but you cannot judge the sheer amazing talent behind this man's lyrics. And this album really shows it. This is his first great album. It has Blowing in the Wind opening it, which is one of my all-time favourite songs from the 60s. Masters of War is another really important song. Bob Dylan's Blues is mayhem, and I love it. It's fantastic. Bob Dylan's Dream is really good. Oxford Town is one which I really enjoy listening to because I can kind of relate to that one a touch. And yeah, I Shall Be Free is also a really good song. This album just has a lot going for it, and it's one of the reasons why I love listening to it. Okay, next up is Led Zeppelin 2, another pretty obvious one. I'm going to take this one out because I really like looking at this record. This has some great stuff on it. I mean, I love the gatefold to it. Look at that. The Zeppelin. Love it. So Led Zeppelin 2, their first album was really good. They're one of the few bands who didn't go to just your generic first 60s album. It's just straightforward rock and roll with a little bit of hint of what's to come. First Led Zeppelin album was very Zeppelin-y. So I have to give them credit for being one of the few bands that done that in the 60s. But the second album, they just went full Zeppelin, and I love it. Their style is fantastic, and I don't think it ever fades on any of their albums. But there isn't a bad song on here. Whole Lot of Love is one of the most famous songs on the planet. Then we've got also on here Moby Dick, Bring It On Home. Ramble On's a really good song. It's just a really, really solid album, and has some of the best guitar work ever on it by Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. I feel like this album is when he's most free with his vocals, maybe tied with Zeppelin 4, but it's a very good album, very good album. And now we're going to look at the only solo Beatle record I put in this list. Don't get me wrong, it was very hard not to put Imagine and Harrison's Living in the Material World on this list, because I love those albums both a lot. But I just didn't feel they quite made the cut for me. But I'm going to put Paul McCartney's Ram on here, because this album is one which I can listen to a lot. This is such a good album, it really is. It opens up with Too Many People, which is just a really fun song. And it's got other songs on here as well, like Smile Away, which I love for its rawness. Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey, which is just incredible. Eat at Home is fantastic. I love Heart of the Country, little McCartney doodle. But I love it. Fantastic. And it closes with one of my favourite McCartney songs ever, The Back Seat of My Car, which is fantastic. Okay. Next one up. Personal one for me. Not many people are going to probably know this or go, oh yeah, that's an obvious one. Because it's definitely not an obvious one. I'm chucking on Joe Bonamassa, So It's Like That. Out of Joe Bonamassa's early albums, they all kind of sound very Nickelback-ish, I think. But better than Nickelback, because not only are his songs more fun and more innocent, but you have amazing guitar solos in there. So they don't really do as much for me. I prefer Joe in his later years when he's very bluesy. He's like a modern American Clapton. But the early albums, Nickelbacky. This one kind of stands out though, because this one has a lot of very catchy songs and a lot of good material. Opens up with My Mistake, which is still hands down one of Joe's best songs ever. Line number 1, really good. No Slack, I really enjoy it. The title track, So It's Like That. Mountain Time's good. And I also really enjoy Pain and Sorrow. So yeah, very good album. Next one up is probably the newest album in this collection. This is from 2008, and I absolutely love this record. This is Keane, Under the Iron Sea. Keane are one of those bands, slash Tom Chaplin, because he's had 2 solo albums outside of Keane now, who have just not had a bad album. You're likely to see them pop up in every video. If I do like my favourite 3rd, 4th album, amazing. I was also debating putting Tom Chaplin's 2nd album in here, The 12 Tales of Christmas. But I thought I'd leave it out because it's a Christmas album, or it's a winter album, and it's not that time of year to be talking about it, really. So I did leave that one off. But yeah, this is a fantastic album. It opens up with Atlantic, which is a pretty interesting song, but I really enjoy it. Is It Any Wonder is fantastic. But my favourite song on here is Crystal Ball. That song is absolutely beautiful. And this is a beautiful album. If you haven't checked out Clean, go do it. They're fantastic. Next up, Piano Man by Billy Joel. Love me some Billy Joel. Billy Joel is just one of those artists, again, you put him on, every song is fantastic, every album flows really well. I can't really think of any bad Billy Joel albums. However, I'd say his weakest is probably his first album. But then he came out with this. Yeah, I know, what an album. Well, we all know the title track, Piano Man. Don't go for the short version. You've always got to go long version. It is so good. And then we've also got on here Captain Jack, which I think is just absolutely incredible. Travelling Prayer is really good. The Ballad of Billy the Kid is awesome. There's so much good stuff on here. It really is. It's just one really good ballad type album that flows really well. And it's a very unique album in Billy's catalogue, I think. Next up, I'm going Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. This was their 2nd album after Wednesday Morning at 3 AM. And I'm not a huge fan of Wednesday Morning at 3 AM. Just personal, just not a huge lover of that one. However, this album here, it's a lot more interesting. The Sound of Silence is just a really beautiful song to listen to. Leaves That Are Green, I also really enjoy. Homeward Bound, of course, incredible. And yeah, it's just a really interesting album, I think. And this one kind of just sucks me in. Whenever it comes on and I'm in the mood for Simon and Garfunkel, I'm just kind of there in the zone, and it's hard to pull me out. And that album's one of the ones which really pulls me in. Eric Clapton, 461 Ocean Boulevard is next. Yeah, Eric Clapton, you know, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Thinking about it, I'm a bit surprised in myself I didn't pull out Disraeli Gears for this video. Maybe I should have. Anyway. But yeah, this is his 2nd album under the name Eric Clapton. Of course, he did actually have an album out in between this and his first one, with Derek and the Dominoes' Layla, which actually only came out like literally a couple months after his first solo album, which was self-titled. I really enjoy Clapton's first album, actually. It's a very underrated and overlooked album, which no one ever talks about. But it's fun. It is really good, actually. But this one here, again, shows you in the soft blues direction that Clapton would go. Opens up with Motherless Children, which is awesome. Give Me Strength is really good. Willie and the Hand Jive is fantastic. Get Ready I really like. His cover of I Shot the Sheriff is amazing. I've just listed the whole A side, so you know it's pretty good. I think the second side is a little bit of a dipper. But Let It Grow and Steady Rolling Man is fantastic. Can't Hold Out's pretty good as well. But yeah, this is a very solid album. Very solid album. Okay, next one up. Elton John, self-titled. So this was his second album after Empty Sky. For some reason, a lot of people think this is his first one. I'm going to take this one out, because I do need a bit of a reminder on some of the tracks. It's been a while, but I love this album. I love early Elton John. Anyone who says the 70s isn't Elton John's best period is just wrong. Because, man, this man, like, all the way up to Blue Moves, was just cranking out some amazing songs. Especially on Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Madman Across the Water. So we got Your Song opening this up, which is fantastic. And then there's just first episode of Henton. I think that's how you say it. I've probably pronounced that wrong, but I do like that song. So then there's other songs like 60 Years On, Border Song, The Cage, The King Must Die. It's just some really good stuff on this album. So yeah, it's a very solid album. Very solid. And Elton John would only go on to do better, in my opinion, in the next few years. So, and then this is probably the most obvious one I can chuck in this list. Even more obvious than Nevermind. That's Oasis. What's the Story, More to Glory. When people think of the best second albums, I think this is the one everyone goes to. You know, Hello, Roll With Me, Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger. Some might say She's Electric, Morning Glory. It's pretty flawless, really. Great album. And of course I've chucked in with the Beatles. Now this is actually one of my least favourite Beatle albums, I'm not gonna lie. This is, I don't know, it's a very good album, obviously. It's the Beatles, it's not gonna be bad, but it has, I don't know, compared to albums that were to come, this one just, I don't know, there's something about it which doesn't click as much as like even A Hard Day's Night. However, saying that, still a great album. It's a great second album. There's some really good stuff on this. Let's have a look at what we got. It won't be long opening it up. All I've Got to Do, which is beautiful. All My Loving, which is one of my favourite early Beatles songs. Till There Was You is a nice song. Devil in Her Heart, Not a Second Time. I like their cover of Money. So yeah, this is a very good second album. But as I say, I think the albums that followed this are a lot better. So if I do my favourite third albums by bands and whatnot, the Beatles would be a lot more well spoken of, I'll say. Don't get me wrong though, I know there's a lot of Beatles fans out there who love that album and they'll probably slaughter me for saying what I just said, but it's still a fantastic album. I still love it. It's great. Next up we got the Moody Blues. Days of Future Past. Not the X-Men film. What a great album this was. The Moody Blues, like what I was saying about Bowie, they kind of had to do this generic album as well at first, where they had Denny Lane doing a lot of the lead vocals, but then second album, Days of Future Past, they said, nope, we're leaving that behind. Here we go. This is our sound. And wow, they nailed it. This album is fantastic. I can't really pick out songs because it is one huge listening, I feel. It's great. It's unique. I love the cover. Look at that. Is that not psychedelic? It is. I love that album. Great album. Now, I'm only down to 3 albums now. Okay, so we got Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. I love Noel Gallagher. I think as a solo artist, he's probably the best one going today, I think. I love his solo career. He's got 3 albums which are just all amazing. Like, all really good to listen to. This album is fantastic. A lot of people say this is his best. I personally prefer his first one, actually. However, this one is still amazing. You got Riverman open it up, which is great. In the Heat of the Moment, classic. Girl with the X-Ray Eyes, fantastic. Lock All the Doors is great. The Mexican is fantastic. You Know We Can't Go Back, incredible song. And The Ballad of Mighty Eye, also fantastic. I love Noel Gallagher. I love him so much. I know some people are not huge on him. I love him. I think he's fantastic. Okay, this is the only Fleetwood Mac related item I've got to show today. And that is Lindsey Buckingham. Yeah, so this is Go Insane, his second album. After coming off a good first album, well, great, Law and Order, it was good, not great. Puts this out, and this is just so much more Lindsey's style. This is him just jamming on a guitar, messing about with his vocals, and some really interesting lyrics, which I really dig. That's Lindsey Buckingham in a heart shell. So my favourite tracks on here is I Want You, Go Insane, Slow Dancing, Loving Cut, Bang the Drum is also a good song. So yeah, had to include that. And the last one, which I'm going to talk about, is U2. It's coming off their debut Bowie. They put this album out October. And wow, this is just a really, really good song. Album even. I mean, it's more than just a song. Again, this album just flows well. There's not really a bad song on it. I mean, look at that lineup of tracks. I mean, if the camera wants to focus, it doesn't. So you can't, you'll have to Google it. But it's fantastic. It's a really fun flowing album. And U2, when they want to be, can be really good. But nevertheless, that is it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, apologies it's taken me so long to get to another video. As I say, like we all do, we all need to take a bit of time for ourselves every now and then. We all need to be a bit selfish. And that's what I've been doing lately. Nevertheless, we'll be back soon for another video. As I say, I've got plenty more in store. So make sure you subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss them. Especially since we're going to be doing a live one soon. I do promise you guys that. Hopefully next weekend. Maybe I might be able to squeeze one in this weekend. I'll see. I'll see what's happening in the household. But yes, I hope you've enjoyed as always, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye bye.